Even before Star Wars Resistance came out, one of the main things that interested me the most about it were the new additions to the current canon lore for the sequel timeline, especially those concerning the First Order and the Imperial Remnant. As most of you know, despite the Empire losing out to the New Republic on Jakku, there were still a lot of Imperial Remnant groups that were around after the Empire was officially dissolved. Most of the Imperial Remnant didn't even end up joining the First Order, due to feeling it strayed too much from what the Empire had stood for, and mostly saw them as a bunch of radicals. I actually covered the canon Imperial Remnant in depth in one of my Star Wars Declassified videos, which you can check out. But while we know the Imperial Remnant existed for quite some time after the Battle of Jakku, it's currently unknown whether any groups were still around during the events of The Force Awakens. If anything, it's more than likely that they started to slowly disappear over time, as the idea of the Empire began to be only a distant memory for many in the galaxy. In Resistance, while we don't get to see any of the Imperial Remnant per se, we do however end up meeting two characters that are said to be former Imperials. The first being Emmanuel Doza, who was an Imperial officer that held the rank of captain during the Galactic Civil War. After the fall of the Empire, Doza ignored the rumors of the First Order building up in the unknown regions, but at the same time also didn't see the point in joining the Imperial Remnant, especially with Palpatine's death after the Battle of Endor. Instead, he opted for a peaceful life, settling down to have a family and then later operating the Colossus refueling station. Next is Griff Halloran. His past of the Empire is less known unlike Doza's, but it's said he was a veteran TIE pilot of the Imperial Navy. After the fall of the Empire, while not openly stated, it's highly likely that Halloran joined one of the Imperial Remnant groups, given his extreme loyalty to the Empire. And it's possible that due to the Remnant group dissolving over time, Halloran was looking for work and ended up joining the Colossus as part of the Ace Squadron. Using his piloting skills and many years of experience from the Galactic Civil War, and of course being a former Imperial sharing that in common with Doza, he was welcomed to the job with open arms. Thanks to Resistance, we do get to see the interactions of these two former Imperials with the First Order, and shows us just how different the two factions were. Like mentioned before, most of the Imperial Remnant didn't care for the First Order, and that attitude doesn't seem to change in Resistance with the show's Imperial characters. Since interacting with the First Order, Doza was shown to be very hesitant of even wanting to deal with them in the first place. This is due to fully knowing how the Empire worked and even more so, how much more extreme the First Order was in comparison. Over his many frequent meetings with the First Order during the season, Doza never makes it a secret that the only reason he's doing business with them in the first place is due to him being forced into it, all because of the situation that Colossus finds itself with the local pirates. Halloran, like most others of the Imperial Remnant, also showed no love for the First Order. He instead chose to ignore them whenever he could, this being due to the agreement that Doza put in place of the First Order taking control of the Colossus, a decision that Halloran had no say or control over. So in order to keep his job, he had to keep quiet and live with it. However, eventually push comes to shove, and both Doza's and Halloran's feelings for the First Order come out. After finally getting fed up with them, Doza attempted to fight back, with his personal droid gunning down a few troopers in the process before being overwhelmed and arrested. But when he did regain power, he had no problem issuing orders for the Ace Squadron and destroying the First Order's presence on the Colossus. For Halloran, things weren't any different. After being freed from First Order custody, the Imperial Loyalist took to the skies and directly fighting against the radical faction in his own personal modified Imperial TIE. In doing so, he managed to shoot down several First Order TIE fighters, before almost being killed himself in action by Major Elric von Reg. In the end, the attitude of these two former Imperials greatly mirrors the same exact feelings many in the Imperial Remnant felt about the First Order during the Cold War. While of course some hardliners from the Remnant did end up joining the Order, most of them only did so not because they agreed with the views of the First Order, but rather more so that they saw the Order as their best or only way in truly getting revenge on the New Republic. However, in the end, an overall small percentage of Imperials ended up joining the First Order, with the Order eventually being forced to recruit in the Outer Rim, and even steal their recruits as young children, just so they'll be able to build up a necessary force to even stand as a threat to the known galaxy. As always, be sure to like and share this video, as well to keep it here to Silo for everything on the latest in Star Wars. N7 from Silo, signing out.